Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and they've done it. The Houston Texans have beat the Los Angeles Chargers 32-12 in the wild card round, and the Texans are moving on to the division round. Great win for the Houston Texans today. I said it, the defense was going to show up today, and I was not at all surprised with the way the defense showed up today. I said the only question in this game, I said the defense will come up big for this team today, and they will keep it in the game. And the defense is not going to be the reason why the Texans lose this game if they do. But the offense, it's all about the offense. The offense needs to come through. They need to protect C.J. Stroud. I said earlier in my game preview this morning, I said when C.J. Stroud, when he gets protection, he is one of the most elite quarterbacks in this league. When he's not, and when his protection is poor, he's one of the worst. I'm sorry for saying it. But I felt like the offensive line did a great job protecting C.J. Stroud today. There were some plays, sure, where Stroud got sacked. Maybe there was some poor protection. But I thought for the most part, the offensive line was really good today. Stroud went 22 for 33 through 282 passing yards. And Stroud, for the most of this game, looked great. And the Texans win by 20. So I think when the offensive line shows up for this team, Look, I'm not saying the offensive line was perfect today. There was, I think, way too many holding calls, some plays where they didn't protect C.J. Stroud enough, but it's been way better than it's been in a long time for this offensive line, and that's why we saw C.J. Stroud play the way he did, make some of the throws he threw in this game, and I thought he was just incredible. But I'm not surprised at all this Texans team won because, like I said, I thought the defense in this game was going to be huge for this team. The only question was, can the offense back them up? And they 100% did. It was a great game for this Texans team. And yeah, I mean, I don't know which win I like more, last year's win against Cleveland or this one against the Chargers. I think there's a little bit of a debate about who's the better team, this year's Chargers or last year's Browns. If I had to, I would say the Browns last year are a better team, and we did beat the Browns worse than we beat up the Chargers. But at the same time, I feel like maybe we were a little bit of a better team last year than we were at this point this year compared to playing the Browns, last year than playing the Chargers this year. But I feel like both wins are great, and I'm happy the Texans won this game. I said, I said multiple times throughout the week, said it this morning, all I want is a wild card win. I don't care what happens after that. I'm not expecting the Texans to go to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, or even go to championship game. But I want the Texans to, surprise all the doubters, surprise everybody. How are you looking now, Rex Ryan? Rex Ryan, who said, this is a bye week. The same guy who says he thinks he's guaranteed to get the Jets head coaching job, which it now turns out I guess the Jets not even that interested in having him. So, Rex Ryan, you're a fool. And a lot of other people have been starting to say, after Rex Ryan said that, a bunch of other people were saying this was a free bye week for the Chargers. Look, I definitely thought there was a solid chance the Texans lost this game. I believed in the Texans, but I knew for sure there was a chance for the Chargers to win this game and move on. But I sure as hell didn't think it was a bye week for this team any given Sunday in the National Football League. And if anybody has a bye week this week that's not the Chiefs or the Lions, it's the Buffalo Bills playing a rookie Bo Nix, not the Chargers going on the road in the playoffs going up against the Texans with a great defense. So, yeah, Rex Ryan is an idiot. But great win for the Texans. Like I said, I'm just happy the Texans won this game and are moving on. I want more for this team. I want to see that first championship game for this Houston Texans team. Oh boy, I do. But I'm grateful for this playoff win. I'm grateful that the Texans proved all the doubters, even though they were underdogs at home in the playoffs. I'm so happy for this team, and obviously would love a win next week, whether it's against Kansas City, Baltimore, or actually there's no way for this Texans team to play Baltimore, whether it's in Kansas City or Buffalo. I'm staticked for this team Yeah, actually, I think it could be Baltimore. Whether it's in Baltimore, Buffalo, or Kansas City, I'm so happy for this team. Um, I don't really care what happens next week. I want to see the team win, of course, but I'm just happy the Texans made it way farther than people expected them to. And obviously, I'm hoping they'll win next week, too. But let's get into this game. Let's get into some stats. Scoring summary. Chargers started off, the Chargers dominated the Texans in the first quarter, but I think the key part of the first quarter was the Texans' defense being able to stop the Chargers from getting touchdowns. And I don't know where this game goes if they turn those two field goals by Cameron Dicker, a 35-yarder and a 39-yarder, which are really good drives for the Chargers offense, into touchdowns. I don't know if the Texans win this game if they turn those field goals into touchdowns right there. So I believe that those stops were huge for the Texans defense. But then C.J. Stroud at the end of the half, we saw an amazing end to the half. C.J. Stroud throws a 13-yard touchdown pass to Nico Collins, 7-6. Kaimi Fairbairn makes a 41-yard field goal, 10-6. Then the third quarter, Kaimi Fairbairn, 37-yarder, 13-6. And then how about this? At the end of the third quarter, the Chargers elect to go for a pass on third down. No, it was a first down. Chargers decide to pass at the end of the game, or at the end of the quarter, and Eric Murray has a 38-yard interception return. The second Eric Murray picked it off and he started walking to the end zone, the first thing that came to my mind was Steven Nelson, Christian Harris. The first thing. And what's even crazier is then about a minute and a half later into the game, Derek Stingley Jr. has a pick and takes it all the way to like the 10-5-yard line. And as he's going, I'm thinking, as I just said something and thought something about Steven Nelson and Christian Harris getting back-to-back pick sixes last year in the wild card, are they about to do this again with two different players in Stingley and Eric Murray? Fortunately, Stingley was unable to get to the end zone. Texans had to settle for 3 with 12 minutes remaining, 23-6. And how about this? This is crazy. Justin Herbert throws an 86-yard touchdown pass to Ladd McConkey. I love Ladd McConkey. He's such a stud. I'm going to give him his flowers. He was incredible in this game. And I've always known Ladd McConkey was good. Like this all year has been great. But I think this is the play that I think there's been many plays for him where I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy's a stud. But it's this play right here that I think, just makes me feel like he's gonna be really something in this league. Like obviously he's had other games like this where he's a real stud, but this game right here, he's gonna be one of the top wide receivers in this league. He's incredible. Not trying to, give the opponent too much credit, but unbelievable play by Ladd McConkey. And then, obviously, you got to go for the extra point. You're trying to get it to a 10-point game. It's blocked by Ross. The same Ross who deflected a punt earlier in this game. D'Angelo Ross was incredible. Blocked a punt, or didn't block it. It was blocked, but it was deflected and ended up rolling to for like a 35-yard punt. But I had an amazing deflected punt, and then he blocks the kick and then recovers it and takes it all the way to the end zone for a 2-pointer, and it's 25-12. Then again, another interception. Justin Herbert then throws a pick it was before the pick. This was before the pick. Joe Mixon has a 17-yard touchdown run. It's 32-12, and then Stingley gets another pick. And so last year a huge string of events that got the Texans into a comfortable win, and this year it's the same thing. I want you guys to answer in the comment section, which do you like more? The back-to-back pick sixes of Steven Nelson and Christian Harris, or a pick six for Eric Murray, then a huge pick for Derek Stingley Jr. that only turns into a field goal, then the 2-pointer on the blocked kick, and then another pick for Stingley to seal the game. I would say probably, since there's so much more happening in the last one, I would say but the two back-to-back pick sixes were pretty incredible last year. But some big plays by defense and special teams these last couple years in the wild card for this Texans team against the Browns and the Chargers. All right, game leaders: Herbert 14 for 32, 242 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 4 interceptions. Herbert this year has been so incredible of not throwing picks. Is one of the best quarterbacks in the league of not throwing interceptions, but that was just not the case going up against this Texans defense today. 4 interceptions thrown. Stingley grabbed 2, Murray grabbed 1, Lassiter grabbed 1 as well. It was a good day for Texans cornerbacks in this game. CJ Stroud, 22 for 33, 282 passing yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Almost had a second pick by Derwin James in this game, but this was, I think, a huge play for this Texans team today, which really helped them out. Was they looked back and looked at the play and brought it back. It was incomplete. It wasn't a pick for Derwin James, and that led to the Texans knocking a 37-yard field goal with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Rushing yards: J.K. Dobbins got hot early, but started to see the ball less in the game when the runs started to get denied a little bit by the Texans defense. Obviously, then they just stopped running the ball in general because the Texans were, just killing the Chargers. Dobbins only sees 9 carries for 26 rushing yards. Joe Mixon started off. This is actually kind of impressive. Joe Mixon started off bad, and J.K. Dobbins started off good, and then J.K. Dobbins ended terribly, and Joe Mixon ended the game amazingly. 25 carries, 106 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. It was a rough start to the day for Joe Mixon, to the point where the Texans had to lean, so much with the pass. But that changed at the end of this game, the second half, mainly the fourth quarter, and Joe Mixon just killed it. Receiving yards: Ladd McConkey had 9 receptions for 197 receiving yards with a touchdown. He was incredible. Also incredible was Nico Collins, 7 receptions for 122 receiving yards and a touchdown. He had some big plays. He had a big 37-yard reception that got the Texans into the red zone in their first touchdown drive, then capped that drive off with a 13-yard touchdown reception. He had some other big catches in this game. He was incredible. Let's go over some other stats for the Texans, and we'll go over some stats for the Chargers too. Gus Edwards, 7 carries, 22 rushing yards. CJ Stroud, thought a big part of his game today was running for 42 yards using his legs, which was a big part of this Texans win today. Dameon Pierce, after such a good Week 18 performance, had 2 carries for 15 rushing yards at the end of the game. Dre Ngaballaway had 1 carry for 5 rushing yards. Outside of Nico Collins, how about a big play that I think changed the way this game went for the Texans? Was where it all started with Xavier Hutchinson. 1 reception for 34 receiving yards. His only catch of the day was on a fumble that CJ Stroud went back and recovered, was fading away, and floated the ball up in the air for Xavier Hutchinson. He took it for 34 yards. Farmer, Gronk, Cade Stover was incredible in this game. 4 receptions for 28 receiving yards. John Mechie, I wouldn't say he was great in this game. He had 4 receptions for 28 receiving yards, but he also fumbled in this game that led to a Chargers field goal. He also had a couple, passes thrown to him that he should have caught that were good throws by CJ, but he did make some solid plays. Dalton Schultz had 2 receptions for 23 receiving yards, and I thought he had some nice catches, but was not very involved at all in the second half. Robert Woods made some good catches in the first half with 2 receptions for 22 receiving yards. Mixon had a reception for 13 receiving yards. Deontay Johnson had a big 12-yard catch in this game. When the Texans, they were some penalties, a sportsmanlike conduct, and a holding got them all the way back to the 49-yard line, and they were 2nd and 40. They had a jump by the Chargers, which got them 5 yards, and then there was a 13-yard throw to Joe Mixon, which got him his 1 reception for 13 receiving yards. The Texans got to the 31-yard line, and Deontay Johnson made a big catch for 12 yards that got them in more comfortable field goal range, got them all the way to the 19-yard line, and was a way more comfortable kick for Kaimi Fairbairn to give the Texans a 7-point lead. So that was a big catch by Deontay Johnson. All right, fumbles. Joe Mixon did lose a fumble. John Mechie lost a fumble. Stroud threw a pick. So the reason I bring those things up is because the Texans still won this game by 20 points with 3 turnovers. I think that's really impressive. Those turnovers shouldn't happen. The CJ Stroud pick shouldn't have happened, but besides the CJ Stroud pick, the Joe Mixon and John Mechie fumbles were unexcusable. I don't know how Mechie... this shows the Chargers. The Chargers defense is incredible. Great at knocking the ball out. But those fumbles by Joe Mixon and John Mechie should have never happened. Stroud had a fumble too, but recovered it. And that was the play that he threw to Xavier Hutchinson. All right, tackles. The Texans 7 tackles for Eric Murray. He led the team in tackles with his pick six. Azeez Al-Shahir and Henry Toto had both 6 tackles. I think the kind of impressive thing is they kind of were quiet in the second half. In the first quarter, Azeez had 5 tackles and Henry Toto had 4, and then they both finished with 6. So they kind of got quiet as the game went on. And I think the big part of that is because the Chargers stopped running the football more. They started running the football less. Stingley had 4 tackles. Will Anderson had 3 tackles with 1.5 sacks, with 1 tackle for loss. And there was an interview today where Will Anderson was talking with J.J. Watt, and he asked him, how do you deal with a playoff game? He was curious about how this playoff game would go because he said, I've never played a playoff game besides, being in my rookie year. This is my first playoff game not being in my rookie year. In an interview with J.J. Watt earlier today, Danielle Hunter had three tackles, 3 for Miles Bryant, 3 for Kalen Bullock, 2 for Foley Futakasi, and he had a tackle for loss on a run. 2 tackles for Mario Edwards Jr. He had 1.5 sacks, 1 sack for Danico Autry, and that was it. 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. This defense. So let's get to the interceptions. Stingley Jr., best corner in the league. I love Pat Surtain. Give him his flowers, but this is the best corner in the league. It's close, but it's Stingley. 2 picks, 70 yards returned. Eric Murray had his 38-yard touchdown, and Kamari Lassiter had his interception for no yards to gain. Denis Leonard had an interception thrown by Stroud where he did not get any yards. He just stepped out of bounds, and the Texans win this game 32-12. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who do you want the Houston Texans to face? The Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills? There is a way. I think there is a way for the Texans to play the Ravens. If the Ravens beat the Steelers and the Broncos beat the Bills, which that's not going to happen, the Texans would go to Baltimore and the Texans would go to the Texans would go to Baltimore and the Broncos would go to Kansas City. But most likely the Texans, I think, probably play the Chiefs, but they could play Buffalo. My hope is for both Pittsburgh and Denver to win, and the Texans host a playoff game next week against Pittsburgh. That's my number one hope right there. That would absolutely be fantastic. And I don't think it's impossible, but I doubt it. And I wonder if the Texans have ever hosted a division round playoff game. I don't think they have. I know they've never won one, but I don't think we've ever hosted one. Since I've been watching Texans football, there's been 3 division round playoff games, and they've all been on the road. First game I watched was against New England in 2017, 2016, and then obviously Kansas City a couple years ago, and then last year against Baltimore. I've never seen one. I know there've been a couple other division round playoff games besides the ones I've seen, but I don't know if any of them been at home. I don't think so. But I doubt Pittsburgh and Denver are both going to win. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section, and peace out.